Chapter 2185. Bomb Maniac, Bang. Roar. Huahua's body suddenly became extremely huge, with its four thick cat legs stepping on the city wall and a red high-energy particle beam condensed from its mouth, sweeping across the battlefield. Hundreds of lizardmen soldiers didn't even make a sound as their bodies were directly shattered into dust by high-energy particles. More than a dozen Epsilon-level aliens crossed the battlefield, and their joining was a massacre of the East City Legion. Bang's eyes turned red. He used his ability of Bomb Maniac to continuously turn the ruins and soil into super bombs to prevent the Huaxiu National Coalition forces from entering the city. However, although he was powerful, he could not withstand the large number of people in the Wulwan Empire. Hasn't the support arrived yet? We can't hold on any longer. Bang roared at the aliens in various regions and the top leaders of the Empire through the communication network. He lifted a 5-meter-long arm of a mechanical life form from the ground, stuffed a dark red ball of light into it with his left hand, and then threw the mechanical arm far away towards a team of the Mechanical Legion. The moment the arm hit the ground, there was a terrifying explosion of fire, which shattered the land along with a dozen mechanical life forms, and various parts flew high into the sky. In the Huaxiu National Coalition's camp, Xidagarba, Shang Dawen set his sights on him. He said to the thin young man next to him, who had a defiant smile on his face, "He's our target." The young man next to him was carrying a stick on his shoulders. The stick was thin in the middle and thick at both ends, and black energy waves were flashing at both ends. He licked his lips excitedly when he heard this. Isn't it just for him that I've been practicing the combined attack technique for so long? Shengjing District. Monkey King Sun Wuer, Ability Index 18,000 points. After receiving Shang Dawen's order to attack, he jumped up, holding the high-tech Rui Jingu Bang in his hand, and rushed towards the area where Bang was. Along the way, there are naturally various war beasts and lizardmen soldiers blocking the way. After all, who can allow the enemy to raid their own commander? Facing the person blocking his way, Sun Wuer suddenly flipped the Rui Jingu Bang in his hand, and its size suddenly increased, turning into a pillar of heaven that was 100 meters long. Size as desired, Sun Wuer's ability can change the size of his weapon, and its weight will also increase or decrease accordingly. He swung an incomparably huge Rui Jingu Bang with all his might, and it directly swept away 7 or 8 war beasts that were blocking the way ahead. The golden hoop, flashing with black energy, smashed their bodies into pieces, sending metal fragments flying everywhere. The golden cudgel turned into normal size, and the lizardmen soldiers shot lasers at it, but the golden cudgel was swung in his hand like a windmill, and it was impenetrable. All the attacks were surprisingly blocked. This weapon was specially customized for him by Shang Dawen, and it embodies the most cutting-edge technology in the entire Xinjiang region. To put it bluntly, the value of this Rui Jingu Bang is comparable to 2 Nimitz-class aircraft carriers. Who made him the disciple cultivated by Shang Dawen? Sun Wuer killed his way forward, and the mechanical war beasts and lizardmen soldiers that blocked his way were unable to stop him. He ran straight towards Bang, shouting and killing him. When Bang saw this scene, he took a few steps back. Then his eyes turned cold, and he took out a black folding bow from behind him. The bow didn't look big, especially when it was folded. It looked like a dagger. But after he unfolded the folding bow, he stretched out his hand to pull the bow, and a huge translucent dark yellow energy ball quickly condensed on the bowstring. Aiming at Sun Wuer in the sky, Bang loosened his fingers, and the terrifying dark yellow energy ball passed over the short bow and instantly turned into a dense meteor shower, more than thousands of them. In an instant, all directions from which Sun Wuer was rushing were blocked. A reckless man. Bang commented on Sun Wuer's behavior coldly. Don't you know it's hard to evade such a reckless attack from the sky? Facing this endless rain of arrows, Sun Wuer didn't show any panic on his face. Instead, the corners of his mouth stretched even wider, because behind him, Shang Dawen had already raised his palm. My thoughts are eternal. Just the release of thoughts can produce laws that are powerful enough to change the way the real world works. The dense rain of arrows was like a rushing river that suddenly encountered a rock blocking its path. They changed their course one after another, and all bypassed Sun Wooer. Only then did Bang realize that the person attacking him was not one person, but two people. Go to hell, Yukai. Sun Wooer laughed loudly and smashed down with a stick. The Roi Jingu Bang instantly became huge, like a lever that could crush a mountain. But Bang still did not move. He just looked at the unruly young man coldly and whispered, "Explode." The next moment, a series of explosions erupted around Sun Wooer's body in the sky, as if thousands of stars were suddenly born. Boom, 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 boom. It was like releasing thousands of fireworks at once, beautiful and brilliant, yet full of deadly lethality. This terrifying force also enveloped Sun Wooer in an instant. Shang Dawen's expression immediately became solemn. How did you do that? Bomb Maniac, Bomb, a user with the ability to release. His ability is to turn everything he touches into a high-energy bomb. No matter if it is soil, running water, or a human body, as long as he touches it, it will turn into a time bomb without exception. Therefore, when fighting with him, just remember to avoid physical contact and keep floating in the air without touching the ground, and it will be difficult for the opponent to seize the opportunity. They conducted this kind of combat drill countless times. However, just now they did not touch Bang at all, and used telekinesis to avoid all of his energy arrows. But why did the explosion still occur around Sun Wooer's body? Shang Dawen didn't understand this matter. After a burst of thick smoke and dust, Sun Wooer's body fell to the ground, looking like a charred corpse in a miserable state. But Bang just glanced at him coldly, then raised his head and continued looking forward. Because another Sun Wooer appeared in the air. As expected of the silver armor of the Wulwan Empire, I've only heard of you in legends before, but I never expected to actually meet you. You're so formidable. You even knocked down one of my external incarnations. Sun Wooer bared his teeth, and his eyes became much sharper. Shang Dawen stood in the air beside him and said calmly, "Don't underestimate your opponent. Even if we know their abilities, there are countless ways to use one ability, so don't be careless." Chapter 2186, Attacking the Heart. At this moment, an expression of relief suddenly appeared on Bang's face. He let out a long breath and looked at the sky in the distance. Just when their East City Legion was retreating step by step, reinforcements from other city districts finally arrived. From all directions, troops several times larger than their East City Legion rushed to the battlefield to support them. The number of people was not large, only about 5,000 or 6,000. But Bang knew that their crisis was temporarily over. Because those who came to help were the top extraordinary people from all the major urban areas. Ordinary soldiers are traveling at a slower pace and are still on the way. But these strange talents are the core combat force of the Wulwan Empire. After all, war, in the end, is still a battle between humans, especially a battle between aliens. More than a dozen Epsilon-level aliens from the Wulwan Empire, wearing terrifying silver general armor, stood in front of the Wulwan Empire's battle formation. They trampled on the ruins, and murderous intent burst out from each of them. Seeing that these invaders had turned their country into a hell on earth, they only wanted to kill all the Huashu people as soon as possible. That's it. Slake, the Western District Garrison Commander, a charming female lizard man, said coldly, "From now on, we won't let you sixth-generation bastards take another step forward. Although you achieved some success due to our sneak attack, the gap in strength is irreversible. It is impossible for the weak sixth-generation humans to defeat the powerful Wulwan Empire." She crossed her arms, her face full of arrogance. Because she had just arrived here, even though she saw the chaos on the battlefield, she still didn't know how powerful the Huashu coalition forces were. Hearing is not as good as seeing. She instinctively thought that humans had only used a sneak attack to gain a slight advantage. Now they are fully prepared. The army has been assembled, and they are about to launch a magnificent counterattack. Bang warned her in a deep voice, "Don't underestimate these guys. This battle is very strange. I don't know why, but I always feel like they have studied us thoroughly. When we fight them, they are always one step ahead of us, as if they can predict everything. Slack frowned. That's impossible, unless there's a traitor among us. Bang said coldly. Don't forget, they captured our people before. Maybe they used some special means to get our information from them. We were careless after all, and underestimated this race. Midir, one of the silver-armored generals, suddenly thought of a terrible thing. But why wasn't there any sign of such a large-scale operation? We have surveillance equipment at the tunnel. Besides, aren't General Clot and his men still out there? Why didn't the information come back? Brad, the garrison commander of the northern city, had a gloomy look in his eyes and told a terrible truth. I think they have been wiped out. The expressions of all the silver-armored generals turned extremely ugly. Brad pointed toward the sky. Who do you think was fighting the Grand Marshal there? The strength of this race far exceeds our imagination. Perhaps the underground civilization behind them also took action in this battle. In that case, killing General Clot and his group would be a piece of cake. At this time, they had a lot of imaginations and thought that the people of the Qinling Dragon Clan had joined the war and wanted to destroy them. For a moment, everyone's heart was shrouded in a layer of gloom. The only thing they knew about the Qinling Dragon Clan was Bai Longzi, the ruthless man who killed Jin Lu with just 2 slashes. If they intervened in this war, could we win? Some people thought so in their hearts, but did not dare to say it out loud. Brad looked ahead coldly as the mechanical army fought against the war beasts of the Wulwan Empire and the continuous reinforcements of soldiers, combat spacecraft, and unmanned aircraft. On the human campsite, the Ypsilon-class mutants who had been waiting for a long time also appeared and lined up opposite them. In the end, only high-level mutants can fight against high-level mutants. For this moment, the Huashu Nation's aliens had trained for over 4 months. Thousands of times of practice, all in order to defeat, no, to kill, these Ypsilon-level aliens from the Wulwan Empire. In this battle that can be described as a collision between Mars and the Earth, there is no winner or loser, only life and death. This war must end with the complete annihilation of one side's aliens. We seem to be under a bit more pressure. Brad frowned tightly, and his mood was not optimistic. Because they are surrounded by their own land and their compatriots who are still suffering from the aftermath of the explosion. The longer the war breaks out in this area, the greater the damage to the Wulwan Empire will be. On the other hand, before leaving, Yang Xinxin told the Huashu National Coalition Army not to have any reservations when taking action. It would be best if we could kill the ordinary lizardmen here as well. And they must be killed in front of these soldiers of the Wulwan Empire. Attacking the heart is the best approach. Even the most cold-blooded and ruthless person will feel panic and anger when seeing his compatriots being ruthlessly killed. Once the mind is in chaos, the ability to fight will be greatly weakened. Anyway, they were going to destroy the entire lizardman race. Boom. Boom. The iron curtain in the sky above heads was still emitting terrifying energy rays, but it was obvious that its impact on the mechanical army was no longer as powerful. The two sides engaged in a melee, and unless it wanted to kill everyone regardless of friend or foe, it would not be able to open fire at full power. Moreover, its energy transmission channels are becoming weaker and weaker due to the efforts of the burrowing beast troops, led by the Big Dragon Cat. And outside the city wall, 3 super battleships, under Liu Karen's control, have been bombarding this iron curtain of the sky at an extremely stable frequency. The Iron Curtain must first ensure its defensive capabilities, not its offensive capabilities. Because once it breaks, the Huashu coalition forces only need to do one thing to cause a huge disaster to this area. That is, use the most powerful energy to directly bombard the dome above. This is the underground world. Bombarding the dome and causing the Earth's crust to shatter will bring a disaster to the entire Wulwan Empire that is no less than a super meteor shower. Quick victory. Kill all these 6 generations of humans at all costs. Inside the palace, Emperor Ce issued the highest instructions to all troops. He slammed the table hard. The bad news that kept coming to his ears and the disasters that were happening all over the country that he could see with his eyes made his heart bleed. with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.